Colossians chapter 3 and verse 25. But he that doeth wrong shall receive for the wrong which he hath done, and there is no respect of person. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Rakakadash, for blessing me with the spirit to do this lesson. And as you can see the title of the video that I'm about to play, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Those of us in the know, we should already know who this is speaking of. Chiefly, right? Because you have a nation that has put hell on us, and that is putting hell on us until this very day. And, you know, even from the beginning, when you read the book of Genesis, the Lord said, it's one in Genesis and there's one in Exodus. The Lord said that, you know, a nation my people are going to serve. I'm paraphrasing. It says, then will I judge that nation. Right? So the nation that the Lord was speaking of was the nation of Edom. You know, we've been in captivity under all nations, right? There was multiple captivities that we went through as Israelites, right? Because the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans of Negro and Indian descent are the children of Israel, God's chosen people. And you're going to have Israelites that come looking like other nations, because Israel and the Israelites were scattered amongst all nations. It tells you that in, you know, Deuteronomy 28 and 64, amongst other scriptures. But that was a curse that would happen to the Israelites for being disobedient and disobeying our Heavenly Father, Yahweh, right? So it's not a lie. It happened. But here in 2025, you have this devil wanting to scratch history, you know, out of everybody's mind to make them think that it wasn't that bad. Did it really happen? Right? And we shouldn't, you know, dwell in the past. We should just look toward the future and how beautiful this country is going to be in the future. We shouldn't focus on slavery and how bad it was. That's what the fuck this devil says, man. Right? Because what? He doesn't care about what he's doing to you Israelites. He doesn't care, man. Esau, Edom, you know, you got Israelites out here saying, oh, that's your brother. That's your brother. Nah, he broke the brotherly covenant. Right? The Lord said 2 nations was going to come out Rebekah's womb. One nation, right, that comes out first was going to serve the nation that came out second. Esau, Edom, was made to serve Jacob. Not, you know, the way it is. Because you got Jacob serving Esau now. Why? Because Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel, this is where you get the Israelites from, disobeyed Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, and therefore they was put into captivity under their wicked twin brother, Esau, Edom. Right? I don't want to rant, but I'm just giving a little history of the scriptures or whatever. Those of us that are in the know, we know. This is for anybody that comes across this video and has a question or whatever. You know, you can message me or anything, man. And Lord's will, I'll answer, whether it's another video or do a response, you know, in the comments or during the message board. But yeah, so let's read that again. This is Colossians chapter 3, verse 25. It says, "But he that doeth wrong shall receive for the wrong which he have done." Esau Edom has done wrong to the point of no return. He has took it to heights that the Lord did not, you know, tell him to do, man. He didn't tell him to go that way with this captivity, man. Esau said in his mind, "This is my slaves. I'm gonna do what I want with them." And the history is out there, man. Right? We don't really need to go into what transpired, but there was some horrendous things that transpired throughout slavery, throughout history, even up until this day, man. You see how this fucking devil is getting down, man, with our people. He's blatantly showing you that he's the devil, he's the wicked, but he will have the whole world, because the world is idiotic and retarded. So he will have the whole world to think that the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are the most wicked on the earth. And the whole earth needs to watch out for them and not look at what so-called white people did throughout history. Right? So it says, "But he that doeth wrong shall receive for the wrong which he have done, and there is no respect of person." Let's get another one. This is Galatians chapter 6, verse 7. "Be not deceived. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, power is not marked. Is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap," man. So whatever Esau Edom sowed in the earth toward the Israelites, he's going to reap, man. And he's not only going to reap it, he's going to reap it double. He's going to get double what he did to the Israelites. So let's play this. I got a couple scripts we're going to go through. We're going to try to run through this as quick as possible. So it's Salakia for the rant, but that's all the spirit. And without any further ado, Yahweh Shem Yahushua willing, the elect be edified. Shalom.
Last week on this show, a guest shocked the table by arguing in part that slavery in America can't just be blamed on one race, and that museums put too much focus on the role of white people who participated in that terrible institution. And now tonight, that same argument is being pushed by the President of the United States. Donald Trump says that one of the reasons for his crackdown on Smithsonian museums is, quote, "Everything discussed is how bad slavery was." What we try to do on this program is create a platform for discussion and debate that reflects the very real differences that exist in this country. It's what echo chambers in our society fail to do, frankly.
And Salakia, you know, because that's another thing that people like to say. Well, everybody was in slavery. Everybody, this person enslaved that person. This race enslaved that race. Blacks enslaved blacks, and you know, this and that. This is how they try to gaslight you. This is how they try to, you know, throw what happened to us under the rug, right? Y'all know different. It happened to everybody, right? But what did the scripture say? This is Daniel chapter 9, verse 12. "And he have confirmed his words, which he spake against us and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven have not been done as have been done upon Jerusalem." So nobody went through the amount of hell, and nobody went through hell like the Israelites. Even until this day, everybody got fucking rich off the Israelites' backs. America was built off the backs of the Israelites. So quit me with all that BS, man.
But on this topic, it's important to say objectively, slavery was indeed bad. It was evil, the nation's original sin. And it is impossible to understand the true history of this country without fully grappling with slavery's impact. Simply because of their birthplace and the color of their skin, the bodies and spirits of Black men, women, and children were exploited for profit and power. They were forced on.
It wasn't because of their birthplace and the color of their skin. This is higher than that. This is this is judgment from on high for the Israelites, right? Our people don't know who they are because that was a curse that will be put on us. We don't know who we are, but we're coming back to who we are and understanding why these things happen to us.
Onto ships.
And that's all through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua and his tender mercies. That's why we went into slavery, because we, being his chosen people, disobeyed his law, disobeyed what he told us to do and commanded us to do. Therefore, we went into slavery. It has nothing to do with skin color, right, or our birthplace. It's who we are as a people.
Bound by shackles and collars that ripped off their skin. One older man described it as iron entering our souls. Some chose to jump into the waters infested with sharks rather than feel that iron. Now, once they arrived on this very soil, they were forced to work by way of the whip, despite being starved, sleep-deprived, threatened, tortured, physically and psychologically. They were auctioned off, humiliated, fearful, and separated from their families and their children.
And you can read about that in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, from verse 15 on down to 64. All the curses that will happen to the Israelites, nobody else, the Israelites, for disobeying Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua.
Black women and girls were raped and sexually assaulted. Many were brutally murdered and mutilated. Now, this endured for decades, centuries. And even in the places where slavery was not legal, institutions from our banks to universities.
And also the so-called Latinos went into slavery, during the time of the 1400s, late 1400s, right? 1492, right? They were in slavery first. They came over here on slave ships first, right?
Were built on enslaved labor in both the North and in the South. And for many of the white Americans who did not personally own slaves, they benefited from a caste system that concentrated wealth and political power in their hands. So when we acknowledge the existence of Black people who operated George Washington's Mount Vernon or the Black hands that built the White House, we are acknowledging the existence, the perseverance, and the contributions of the souls that white supremacy sought to erase. Those people built families, they developed a culture, they were the keepers of the faith, cultivators of community. And they are the ones who deserve credit for forcing America to rid itself of the stain of slavery. Now, all of this information, these stories are from the Smithsonian's African American History Museum. And I share this not as a lecture for you, but as a lesson. America, the superpower, is largely possible only because of the superpowers of people who went lifetimes without the same rights of generations who were boosted from their backs. True history should include everything. Yes, the evils and the horrors too. And museums are supposed to be places that protect those stories, the images, the lessons, the very things that inform so much of our current state of our republic, from racism to poverty. No matter how painful, or in the president's words, how horrible the lesson. Now, just listen to one formerly enslaved man describe what slavery is like in his own words.
You know what I'd rather do? If I thought that I'd ever be a slave again, I'd take a gun and just end it all right away. Because you're nothing but a dog.
They're not a thing but a doll.
President Trump is taking issue with how slavery is depicted at museums here in the nation's capital. But it is a far different tone than he struck 8 years ago when he first came to the White House.
It's a new, beautiful Smithsonian museum that serves as a shining example of African Americans' incredible contributions to our culture, our society, and our history.
Now, that was back in February 2017, about 1 month after he came into office, when he spoke glowingly about the Smithsonian and its historic presentation of America's original sin.
It also tells of the great struggle for freedom and equality that prevailed against the sins of slavery and the injustice of discrimination.
I covered the first Trump administration, and I was thinking back to that visit this week when the president escalated his attack on the Smithsonian in a new post on Truth Social, when he wrote this: "The Smithsonian is out of control, where everything discussed is how horrible our country is, how bad slavery was, and how unaccomplished the downtrodden have been. Nothing about success, nothing about brightness, nothing about the future."
Look, because what was bright about what you were doing to so-called Negroes, man, during slavery? And what's so bright that you are doing now for so-called Negroes? Right? Everybody would agree slavery was bad. But he would like to gaslight it and say, well, it doesn't talk about, like, we shouldn't focus so much on how bad slavery was. The Smithsonian is out of control. How is it out of control, man? That's fucking history. That's factual history. That's like the brother Malcolm always say. He said that's, critical race historical facts. Right? That's historical facts, man. So you had this devil. This is how these people speak, man. 1 minute they'll say, it's a great, this is a brand new place. It's for the focus on how great African Americans contributed to, the country and this and that. They'll put it in smooth words, right? But deep down, they know what it was. All these so-called white people, these Edomites, they know the horrific things that went on during slavery, man, against so-called Negroes, man. Right? And Latinos. Right? The reason that it's mainly focusing on so-called Negroes because what? The so-called Negroes, Judah, the tribe of Judah is the head tribe, man. Right? This devil knows that when Judah gets riled up, all the other tribes are going to get riled up, man. And that's how this place is going to go down. Thus saith the Lord, man. Right? So this devil, he trying to come down right now with that great wrath. And his mind, to hell with slavery. Right? We did it to him, so what? Tell them do something about it. Better yet, tell their God to do something about it. Right? That's how these devils feel, man. But they're about to get a man. Words can't even come out as to what these devils are about to face. Right? It's going to be a captivity like no other, the Lord said. Because what? The Lord is not going to show any mercy to Esau, Edom, man. No mercy. These devils speak with a fourth tongue, man. What does the scripture say? They spoke smooth words, but war was in his heart. When you read Psalms 55:21, right? Salakia. Let's get it. Psalms 55 and verse 21. It said, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter. You heard them when they built the Smithsonian, the new building. You heard them. It says, but war was in his heart. deep down what he was saying. It don't matter what we did to them. We're going to still put hell on them because they're ours. They're our slaves. We're going to do what we want with them. They have no power, right? It says, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords, man. This is Esau Edom's lips, man, and his actions, right? Get you to drop your guard, get you to trust him, get you to, befriend him, and he stabs you in the back, man.
Fact that we had our country was involved in slavery is awful. No one thinks otherwise. But what I saw when I was going through the museums personally was an overemphasis on slavery. And I think there should be more of an overemphasis on how far we've come since slavery. Our country is a country of progress, and it's the greatest country in the world. And we should be able to take our kids, our students through the Smithsonian and feel proud when we leave.
To the white people.
She said, feel proud. She said, walk them through the Smithsonian where we had Negroes, niggers, and slavery, and we should feel proud because look at what all of this did for our country, right? Look at how glorious our country is now, right? Look, you fucking devils, man. You devils, man. Yo. See, it's not just the so-called white man. It's the so-called white woman and it's the so-called white children, man. Right? Let's get oh man. To hell with what they done to us, our ancestors. We are our ancestors in the regeneration. To hell with what they done to us, man. It's all about how far our country has come. This was the sacrifice that we had to do in order for our children to grow up in the greatest country of the world. Greatest country in the world. No, you fucking devils came over here when the so-called Native Americans was living peaceably off the land, and you came over here and you slaughtered them and you took it over and you raped, robbed, and murdered. You did everything under the sun. Then you went and brought so-called Negroes over here, and you had both kingdoms over here oppressing them, man. This is why when you read Jeremiah 50:33, it says, the children of Judah and the children of Israel were oppressed together. That happened here, and that's happening here, and that will happen here until the Lord return here in America, man. Babylon the Great. Habakkuk 2:5. It says, behold, his soul which is lifted up. I'm going to start at 4. Habakkuk 2:4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith. Because Esau's spirit is not right, man. They can't get right. They don't know what to say. They don't know how to say it. This is their MO, man. This is their nature. They're just fucking devils, man. Verse 5. Yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine. He is a proud man. These devils are the most proud on the earth, man. It says, neither a keepeth at home. Why? Because he looks to go everywhere and conquer, man. He can't mind his fucking business. Right? It said, who enlargeth his desire as hell. Yeah, Wherever he go, it tells you in Revelation 6 that wherever this man go, death follows him, man. A lower state follows. Slavery, affliction follows, man. Right? It says, and is as death and cannot be satisfied. He's never satisfied, man. But gather unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people, man. Right? But, you know, these devils, it's pretty much over for them. Because everything that they reap, everything that they sow, they're going to reap, man. They're going to reap it, man. Let's go to Revelation. Let's go through a couple of these. Revelation chapter 13, verse 9. It said, if any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity, who led us into captivity? Right? Who delivered us to the so-called white man? The so-called Arabs and the so-called Africans, man. Right? They sold us to the Grecians. Who are who? These Edomites, man. The so-called white man. It said, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. And how did they do us, man? They did us dirty. Right? It said, here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And who are the saints? The Israelites, man. The saints are only Israelites. Right? That's what's going down. That's what's about to happen, man. Right? Revelation chapter 18. I'm going to start at 4. It says, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people. So this is what's happening, man. Spiritually, we coming out. And ultimately, we're leaving this place by the chariots of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, man, what the world calls UFOs. That's how we getting up out of here, man. We're going to be beamed up. We don't care if you don't believe it. That's what's going to happen, man. Right? It says, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, man. So the Lord is telling our people, you so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, to come out of America, Babylon, spiritually, out of the ways of America, Babylon the Great, man. It says, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues, because you see now how America is being plagued, man. This place is crumbling daily, hourly, every minute. It says, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High have remembered her iniquities, man. Yeah, Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushua, has remembered her iniquities, man. He has remembered the iniquities of the great whore. The great whore is Babylon the Great. Right? Verse 6, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works. What she has done to the Israelites, she's going to receive double for that, man. Right? Everything you did, and then you put it on Front Street in a museum and want to walk your kids through it and say, we should be proud. Look at how far we've come. No, look at how fucking evil you were, man. Look how much of a fucking devil you are, man. Right? That's what the Smithsonian shows about you Edomites, man. Right? You got some Edomites, my family never had slavery. Yeah, whatever, man. If you go down that tree enough, they did, man. Your family, your forefathers had slaves, man. You all come from them. You come from Esau, Edom. So your forefather, y'all had slaves, man. Right? You don't get cut off because you feel like, oh, I'm British. I'm from Ukraine. I'm Russian. I'm German. Right? You're all Edomites. It says, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works. In the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. Right? Verse 7. How much she have glorified herself and lived deliciously. Yeah. They like to put things in your face to show how far they come. They put it in a bright light. They say, yeah, it was wicked, but look at how we're showing it now. We're acknowledging it. It's beautiful. Right? It says, so much she have glorified herself and lived deliciously. Yeah, gotten rich. Right? So much torment and sorrow give her, for she saith in her heart, I see the queen and am no widow and shall see no sorrow. This is what Esau Edom feels, man. He feels like nothing is going to happen to him for what he's done. Right? He's not going to see any sorrow. He's not going to go in slavery. He's not going to have to pay for the sins of his forefathers. Yes, the hell you are, man. Yes, the hell you are. Right? And it's right around the corner. This thing gets you mad, man. It gets you upset. Because the audacity of these devils, man. Right? The audacity of these devils. This is Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 1. It says, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, the Israelites, and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. What land is that? The land of Israel, man. Right? Jerusalem. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. All the other nations. All the other nations, man. They're going to cleave to us in these last days. Right? It says, and the people shall take them. The Israelites are going to take them by force, right? And bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them. We're going to possess you other nations, man. Right? Esau, Edom, the so-called Chinese, Japanese, East Indian, Arab, African man. You're all going to be possessed by the Israelites. Possessed. Right? It said, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. Y'all going to be slaves. And they shall take them captives, who captives they were. We were your captives, man. We went into slavery under all of you nations, man. It says, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Because what? All of y'all oppress us even unto this day. You lie on us, right? You sweat us. You won't leave us alone. So the tables are turning, and they're going to turn real soon. Right? The Lord got something for you nations, man. Right? Let's get one more and we're going to play it. This is Jeremiah 49 and verse 10. It says, but I have made Esau bare, and I have uncovered his secret places. Yeah, Esau Edom is being exposed. All his wickedness and evil and who he is as a people is being exposed to this day. This is why now he has to try to turn the tables and turn his narrative and try to just, push it away from people focusing on him, man. He wants to, put hell on the tribes now, which is all prophesied to happen. But now he wants to put hell on the tribes because now he's being found out. Right? Because what? Yahweh Shem Yahushua has made him bare. He's made him naked. He's made the world see the sins of Esau Edom. It says, I have uncovered the secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, right? And his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not, man. So all these other nations, right? Everybody who was in bed with this devil, they all are being exposed, man. They all are getting the judgment of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Right? Let's jump to verse 12. It says, for thus saith the Lord, behold, they whose judgment Salakia. Verse 12 again. It says, for thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken. Who is that? Israel. We wasn't meant to be in slavery, right? Salakia, 1 second. Yes, Salakia. The Israelites were not made to be in slavery, man. We wasn't supposed to go in slavery, right? We wasn't supposed to drink of the cup, right? Which is the cup of slavery. But we did because we went off. But that wasn't the, you know, that I ain't gonna say that wasn't supposed to happen. It was supposed to happen. The Lord, you know, prophesied everything because, you know, we was going off. So, but we wasn't made to go through that. But the Lord said, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken. And art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. And who's that? Esau Edom. Right? It says, for I have sworn by myself, saith the Lord, Yahweh, that Basra. Who's Basra? Esau Edom, man. Right? That's the house of Edom. It said that Basra shall become a desolation, a reproach, a waste, and a curse, and all the cities thereof shall be perpetual wastes, man. Esau, you got hell to pay for, buddy boy. You got hell to pay for, man. Right? You got hell to pay for. You and your fucking pride, man. You got hell to pay for. So let's play the little bit left, and I got two more. We're gonna shut it down.
Saying that the Black History Museum has an overemphasis on slavery, what part should they focus on instead? The part where Black people got restitution? Because that never happened. The part where Black people got reparations? Because that never happened. The part where Black people got their 40 acres and a mule? Because that never happened. The part where Black people had their civil rights protected right away? Because that never happened either. In fact, it took until 1965, and even then, those civil rights are slowly being stripped away case by case. If you don't like that a museum about Black history focuses on the countless ways that white people in power have stripped away basic humanity from Black people for 400 years, here is an idea. Stop suppressing basic humanity for Black people, pay restitution, pay reparations, protect civil rights, and dismantle the white supremacist infrastructure that sustains to this day from the legacy of slavery. You don't get to violently enforce 400 years of white supremacist policies, profit off of them, make generational wealth out of them, sustain power from them, and then look in the mirror and get offended by what you see.
And there, like I said, the Lord is making him bear, man. Right? The Lord is making him bear. Right? And let's put this bitch shit up. Trump says Smithsonian should focus more on America's brightness. So basically erase what really happened and just put goodness in there. How, nigga? How you supposed to do that? It says not how bad slavery was. Man. Let's go to the post. Let's go to the post. What did it say? Let's see. Let me find the post. This is, yeah. It says the Smithsonian is out of control. Right? It says where everything discussed is how horrible our country is. This country is fucking horrible, man. How bad slavery was, it was bad. It was horrendous. It says, and how unaccomplished and downtrodden have been nothing about success. How is that success, man? By killing people, raping people, right? Doing unthinkable things to people. How is that success, man? Right? This is how retarded these people are, man. And they might flag this video, but who gives a shit, man? It's still gonna get out. It's out already. Right? This is Job. Chapter 21. Let's get it. Job 21, verse 29. And it reads, have ye not asked them that go by the way? And do ye not know their tokens, meaning their signs? Right? Do you not know their signs? It says that the wicked is reserved to the day of destruction. So these devils are just being reserved, man. They're just being reserved. They're fugitives that the Lord already got their location. He's just waiting for things to ride out, man. Right? And we about that time. We at that time where all things is about to come to pass, man. Right? Jacob's trouble, this country collapsing, and the judgment on Esau, Edom. It says that the wicked is reserved to the day of destruction. They shall be brought forth to the day of wrath, man. Because what? What did they push out? Wrath, hatred, covetousness, jealousy, evil. This is what they pushed out, man. It says, who shall declare his way to his face, and who shall repay him what he have done? Who's going to repay him? Yahweh B'Shem Shah, man. And how is he going to be repaid? Let's go to Obadiah. Right? This is how Esau Edom is going to be repaid. Right? I'm going to start at 3. It says, the pride of thy heart have deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks. Because Esau Edom, they come out the caves, man. So-called white people, they come out the caves, man. Right? They literally come out the caves. It says, whose habitation is high. This is why all these skyscrapers are so high, man. It makes them think of mountains and caves and stuff. It says, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Yeah, these devils are proud enough to say that they feel like they ain't never going to go down. Right? So it says, though thou exalt thyself as the equal, and thou that set thy nest amongst the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord, man. The Lord's going to bring you down. You might have your space force and, you know, your mascot bird, which is the eagle, right? And you might, you know, because the eagle is a proud bird, man. That's a symbol of pride, being proud and having pride, right? The Lord said He's gonna bring you down. So let's go to verse 9. Let's jump. Verse 9. This is how Esau is going to be paid back. Obadiah 1 and verse 9, it said, and thy mighty men, O Timan, shall be dismayed to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. Right? That's how Esau going out, man. Right? This is all he knows. He knows how to slaughter people and shed blood. So that's going to happen to him. Right? You know how I read in the beginning, you reap what you sow. You sow bloodshed, you're going to reap bloodshed. Verse 10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever, man. So you're going to get what's coming to you because of your violence against your brother Jacob, the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, that you ain't letting up even unto this day. You're so fucking proud that you won't even glimpse at, you know, we're sorry. No, because you're so proud, and the Lord put that spirit on you to where you can't see. You can't see what's about to happen to you. Right? But it's all good, man. Because you devils, you're about to pay in a major way, man. And I love it. So I'm going to leave it there, man. You know, Salakia for, you know, the lengthy video, but this was all through the spirit. You know, if you don't like the harsh language, then you don't have to watch my channel. You can unsubscribe, man. Nobody, you know, it's going to get out anyway, right? Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So, you know, I'm going to leave it there. Yahweh Shem Yahushua willing, the elect was other Father. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakakadash, for blessing me with the spirit to do this lesson. Hey, to the next lesson. Shalom.